And welcome to another edition of Witch Hat Chats. Come on in and set for our spell. We're sponsored by Evermoving We Rise, Moonlight Potions and Charms, and Saul Ravencraft, Wizard for Hire. I am your goddess host, Miss Nikki Kirby, and somewhere around here, I have no clue where he is. He tends to just come and go as he pleases. His name is Saul Ravencraft. How you doing, Saul?
I'm fantastic, Nikki. I really do try to do a lot of things as I please. I see on Facebook all the time these little things where they show you a bunch of donuts and they say you can only pick three, or they show you horror movies. You can only pick two, right? And the way I always answer those is I'm a wizard. I get all the donuts. I get all the horror movies. Right? You folks can you folks can limit yourselves. That's fine. But I don't see any reason to do that for myself.
Yeah, I was like, why do I have to limit myself again?
Well, and if you think about it, I mean, I know a lot of people aren't viewing it this way. Maybe I'm being cynical, but it's scarcity training, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's training
Right.
yourself that these things will be taken from you, and you get no choice, you get no say in it. So you're going to have to live without something. What are you going to give up? What are you going to let go of? And okay, there's a positive side of that, that if you're taking on too much, right, you have to be able to let go of things. But it's not styles of donuts or horror movies or anything like that. It's making better choices and better decisions. So I try not to play those games because it trains your mind to not think about abundance, but to think about what's going to be taken. And that plays right into the hands of people to go, oh, you know, I'm the one to save you. You can't save yourself, so vote for me, support my company, right? Do
Right, right.
Give me your energy, and I will take care of it.
Yeah, it goes right into your blueprint in your mind. It's just like your money blueprint that's in your mind. When you're growing up, I remember being told money doesn't grow on trees. I remember being told that. Do you remember being told that, Saul?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that you got to work for it. Do you work for it? I remember being told that as well, you know. So, stuff like that. I remember those things. And yeah, so it's a scarcity mindset that they start you out early in life. And
sure,
once they start you out in that, it's hard to rewrite your blueprint to
right.
think otherwise. So once you trying to rewrite that, it's I'm trying not to go back to that,
Right.
and
Well, and
and that's
you're trained to only look at the low-hanging fruit.
mm-hmm,
And that means when something requires you to hold your energy on intention for a long time and to
mm-hmm,
do a lot of work and to have it be incremental and maybe even slide backwards from time to time, you don't have the stamina to get through it. And so when
right,
something gets past a certain level of difficulty, you just go, never mind. And
right,
I mean, if that's what you're comfortable with, that's fair, right? Not
mm-hmm,
saying that you always have to go stampeding to the top of the mountain, um, but it's a choice.
right,
And if you buy into this kind of thing, you don't choose on your own behalf. So take all the donuts, take them all. You deserve them.
I mean, you could take all the donuts and give them to the homeless people. There
Do
you
as
go.
thou wilt.
Right? You can always pay it forward. That's what I would.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Don't tell me
I
what
would take
donuts I can't have.
I would take the best donut, which is probably the one with the cream in the center, and then I would give the rest to the homeless people. Hell with you.
There you go.
All right, so let's go with what the divination is for today.
All right.
All right, so today's divination, I have positive energy tea, and it's by what is it, Yogi tea. And you know what? I decided to go with this thing that I saw on an Etsy cup because I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I told the guy, one of the guys that I am seeing, and he said that he couldn't believe that I actually said this to him. And he also couldn't believe that it was actually written on the side of the cup. I said, well, believe it, honey. And it's absolutely true. And so he did it. So you want to know what it is, Sal?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you dated a redhead, raise your glass. If not, raise your standards.
Nice.
And that's true. That is true. That is true. That is true. We are so much more fun than all the others.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, we are. We are. We are. We are. I can see that because I am a redhead. I'm sorry, ladies. And I'm not being conceited. I am not.
Right?
People say strange and weird things happen around me, which I don't think are strange and weird because it's normal around me. You know,
Sure.
I mean, today on my walk, I'm sitting in the graveyard and I had this man who came up to me in his car and he asked me if I was okay. And I looked at him and I'm like, yes, sir. I'm fine. Thank you so much. He says, well, I saw you here in the graveyard just sitting. Like that was weird. I sit all the time in a graveyard.
What else are you supposed to do in a graveyard? I'd be more alarmed if you were playing frisbee.
Well, people would be more alarmed if the frisbee was actually caught in midair.
Yeah. Now, I love graveyards. One of my favorite photos is a picture that my wife took of me holding our daughter when she was, not even one. And we stop by graveyards all the time when we travel. We just love the art and the age and the peace of the places. And I'm holding her up against my shoulder, and I was just looking, and she's looking straight at the camera. So that's a little haunting. And I've got a serious look on my face just because that's the way my face looked at that time. And you can see the graves in the background. And it's just such a beautiful picture. I converted it to black and white because it felt more like a black and white photo. And when I was in the corporate world and had a cubicle, I had a little frame with a few pictures on it. And that picture was part of that for my whole run there because it's just such a gorgeous picture. My daughter is nothing like that anymore. She's 21 now, so really interesting moment captured. And some people look at it and see it as kind of weird and macabre, but they don't understand. Love graveyards.
Well, you're our people. You
Yeah.
know, they're weirdos.
Yeah. And I was interested in graveyards long before I went down the rabbit hole. I mean, now I have some better understanding of the spiritual aspects and the metaphysical aspects of graveyards and protocol for entering graveyards for certain purposes and that sort of thing. Uh,
Hmm.
One of the things that I learned, a mutual friend, uh, Madam Z, I did a weekend with her, which included a graveyard tour, and she did some education on graveyard protocols, and in particular, the proper collection of graveyard dirt. And one of the things that had not occurred to me, but I strongly adhere to now, is when you take dirt from a grave, you're establishing a relationship with that grave.
Hmm.
And you don't just go in there with a shovel and pick them at random. You decide a grave and you take some responsibility to visit that grave and to tend that grave, and it's not really something that you can do just driving along. I can't really go to Salem and collect graveyard dirt properly, even though it's cool to have graveyard dirt from Salem, right? From a certain aesthetic. I gotta travel back and forth to Salem to maintain that relationship. Um, and so having a local graveyard that you can visit regularly and handle that responsibly, that's important. It's not something that had just never occurred to me before. I entered into that's through that threshold. Uh, and so probably not good to buy your graveyard dirt on eBay, or even at your favorite metaphysical shop, right?
Right.
They're probably doing it in with good intentions, right? But in truth, if you really want that graveyard work to graveyard dirt to work for you, you need to go make that relationship yourself.
Right. Right. Because when you're entering a graveyard, you're entering another, it's like entering another country,
It's another
basically.
realm.
Hmm. That's what it is. I mean, I go on my graveyard walks in the mornings, which I do my graveyard walk talks or thoughts. It's and I post them on Instagram now. So I started them last week, and they're like a minute unless I get to my rants.
Right.
And Saul knows how I get on my rants sometimes, don't you, Saul?
Indeed, I do.
Like Saul gets on his rants, which I did today. I got on my rant today. So it's probably about 4 minutes today. And Instagram kind of gets on to you. They only want you to do 60 seconds because people don't have a lot of attention after 60 seconds. But
Well, they want to
if
run
you
them
don't,
like commercials.
well, if they're interesting to you, then fine. If they're not, move on. It's kind of like my dating profile. And I'm thinking about doing an what do they call it? The frequent questions asked video.
All right.
If you blah 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 blah, blah 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 blah, no, move on.
Right.
You know, if you want blah 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 blah, no, move on. I don't have time for that shit.
I like it.
I mean, it's a lot quicker, right? It's just a lot simple. Here's the index to me, and this is my FAQs, and this is what I will not do. And so you can go ahead and move on, and that way you're not wasting my time, and I don't need to know who the hell you are,
Sounds fair enough.
right? But getting back to my graveyard minutes and everything, basically I post them live and I post them pretty early in the mornings because I do get up early. And it's usually not at the same time, but most of the time it's around 6, actually around 7. I'm going to try to get up a little bit earlier now because I have somebody who interrupts me in the mornings now. And I got shit to do. But I always have like a thought of the day.
Right.
And with my thought is I go to the graveyards because I've got 2 graveyards that I cross, and they're the graveyards that I actually grew up in. Um, and they were my playgrounds when I was a kid. And they were behind a school that I attended. And Rutherford County and Forest City claims they don't make witches.
All right.
Right? I'm sorry. Excuse me. You have a playground that you have kids on, and but you don't make witches? Really? What the fuck? Right?
Sure.
Uh, because right beside them, they're not there now, but right beside them used to be the girls' softball um, fields.
Sure.
But because they were girls' softball fields, they're no longer there. Now there's more graves. Um, if they were the boys' baseball fields, they would still be there. But because they're the girls' softball fields, they became more graves. Go figure. Um, and we have anyway, I go over there each and every morning now, and I take my walk, and it's really nice. It gets you out, it clears your mind. It's about 2 minutes from my house, and I have a very good time. And I will talk more about that when we come back from these amazing commercials. And stay tuned to Witch Hat Chats. Anybody can tell you what is on a tarot or oracle card. What matters is seeing beyond what others may not be able to see and help the client to uncover what lies in the mist. What do readings from Moonlight Potions and Charms do? Wednesday, I did this ancestor reading, and it was an amazing reading. And it was a detailed reading. And I remember talking to this customer's ancestors, and it was so delightful. And he wanted some questions to be answered about the magic in his family because he didn't know. And his family was mostly like most of our families are. You know how everything is like hush hush when it comes to the magic in his family. And he wanted to know who can he actually talk to about the history of the magic in his family. And I was able to give him specifically who he can go to talk to about that. What particular deity he can actually go to be able to help him with this. And it was just an amazing reading, and talking to his ancestors. They were such a delight, and they told me so much about this customer. It was just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful reading for him. And I was just so happy to be able to give him this wonderful reading. It's really amazing to be able to give people these readings these products that's really going to help them and be able to give back to the community, because this is what Moonlight Potions and Charms is about. We want to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. That is what we are all about. It's to help you to do that. Book now and allow our wonderful staff to take care of your spiritual reading needs. And there is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you. Have you heard? The King of the Crossroads, Papa Legba, has graciously opened the roads, paving the way for the Papa Legba Altar on the Go to be nominated as Outstanding Product of the Year in the 2024 Witchcraft and Occult Media Awards. Makes Papa Legba Altar on the Go stand out? Complete traveling altar kits. Everything you need for sacred space is right at your fingertips, all neatly arranged in a mystical painter's pail. And it's compact and convenient. A perfect, powerful temporary altar, whether you're a modern nomad, a military soul on the move, or a wanderlust-stricken traveler. It also has additional space for the personal touch. As customization is a key to your spiritual journey, the Papa Legba Altar on the Go leaves room for you to infuse your unique energy. Moonlight Potions and Charms and Papa Legba invites you to join the spellbinding spectacle at the 2024 Witchcraft and Occult Media Awards. Cast your vote for the Papa Legba on the Go as the Outstanding Product of the Year. Your support fuels the magic. Go to https://rb.gy/PC3F11 to cast your vote. Remember, your altar is not just a space, it's a step in your magical journey. Explore the depths of your inner self by visiting Moonlight Potions and Charms at mpcmagic.com. Be ready to embrace the power of your own magic. Have you wondered what spirituality is? Spirituality is limitless, as it does not contain any boundaries on beliefs or practices. Spirituality's most important component is personal experience and allows one to explore it freely. Evermoving We Rise is a spiritual moving tradition, as our name is our lifestyle, because we are persistently rising and moving forward. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We'll teach you to become friends with your shadow, emerge your authentic self, and give you time and space to develop your own spirituality. And when situations bump back, you'll have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Visit us on our website, Linktree, or Facebook page and discover why we don't fit in the box.
Hey, it's Saul Ravencraft. I am here with Miss Nikki Kirby on Witch Hat Chats, and we've been whistling in the graveyard, walking in the graveyard, dancing in the graveyard, being interrogated in the graveyard.
Oh, I'm never interrogating the graveyard. They actually leave me alone in the graveyard.
It's funny. One of the things that I see a lot on paranormal shows and that kind of thing is they want to do investigations of the graveyards. There's lots of ghost stories in the graveyards. And that really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Uh, I mean, seriously, and I mean, you and I have both spent times in graveyards, and I don't find them to be especially spiritually active. I find them to be very peaceful, reverent places, similar to churches I've been in that have clearly been places of contemplation and prayer over 1,000 years. You feel this other kind of energy there. And the way I think about it is, if for whatever reason you were bound to this earth, your spirit was not able to move forward, and you were here either by your own design or something else, are you going to go stand around your box? Is that where you're going to hang out? Or are you going to go and haunt some place that meant something to you?
I think it really depends on the person and well, actually it depends on a lot of factors. Okay. Usually it's where it meant something to them, and it's the shock of the death. First of all, it's the shock of the death and whether the Reaper has pulled out the soul or not. There you go. That's the first freaking thing. Um if a long time ago, we I was in one of my graphic classes, and my teacher author, he had wanted us to actually draw our obituary and use as few words as possible. And he says, when people look at this, they need to know instantly that this is you. And so I'm sitting here trying to think about what would my obituary actually look like, you know, because I was a totally different person then versus now. And he asked me, he says, Nikki, when you be upset if nobody showed up at your funeral? And I kind of looked at him and I said, actually, no. I said, I think I'd be more upset the fact that I was dead. I said, that'd be more the shock to me.
Sure.
You know, I mean, the hell with people. I don't give a damn about them. They're not dead. I am. That because don't you think that you looking at your body would be the most traumatic thing for the spirit, first of all? That's not something you're used to. Unless, I mean, for us, we're kind of different because we do astral projection. We do a lot of spiritual work, because that'll probably be the first thing that most of us will look at, like, oh, cool, we're astral projecting. Also, you know, we're not dead. We're just astral projecting until we're like, okay, where's the tag? Where's the, the little cord? What the fuck? Where's my cord? And we keep going around and around and around the body. We're okay. Who cut the fucking cord?
Right.
We start to investigate, and then we find the Reaper. Okay, because everybody has a Reaper. I've actually gone into real detail with death because I have a really good relationship with death, and we've actually discussed a lot of things as far as that goes. Um, and I've had a really good time discussing this with it. I'm not going to say him. I'm not going to say her, because death appears to you the way you perceive it.
Right.
And graveyards, the reason why I like graveyards, because I talked to my dad. I call him because he's the only one other than Byron Ballard. Hey Byron. Yes, I'm talking about you. I bug her in the mornings. and say, "Are you up?" Because I know she's up. Between her and my dad is the only one up that early in the mornings. Nobody else is up that early in the mornings. And sometimes I need to have a chat with somebody. And he thinks that I'm strange anyway because I am his daughter and I hang out in graveyards. Whoopee do. And
That's not strange.
that's not strange to me,
Nah.
you know. And we do have some people out there that walk around the graveyard, even though we have a track that's less than a mile away, but they walk around the graveyard and they see that I talk to the spirits out there and they look at me like I'm strange, those weirdos over there because they can't see the spirit and they can't understand the spirit and they can't hear the spirit. I can't help it that they don't open up their minds to it. I mean, that's not my damn problem. But anyway, he asked me, he's like, "Why do you go to a graveyard?" And my mother doesn't understand either. And I said, "You know what? Graveyards, like you said, Saul, most of the time are very, very peaceful. And it's because death is like shingles. It doesn't care. It doesn't care whether you're young, old, or in the middle. It doesn't care whether you're rich or you're poor or in the middle. It doesn't care whether you are a Democrat, a Republican, independent, or whatever party that you want to be, or whether you vote or not. It doesn't care whether you are fit or disabled. It doesn't give a damn whether you're male, female, transgender, whatever your pronoun is. It doesn't give a shit. It doesn't care what your ethnic background is. It doesn't give a damn what you are. It's going to take your ass, period. And it cannot be bought. It's the one entity that is non-discriminatory. Now think about that. The one entity that is non-discriminatory. Maybe we ought to vote for it for president. At least we know that it can't be bought, it can't be corrupted, it can't be nothing. Because it's like shingles. It doesn't care.
Death will have its influence regardless of whether or not we recognize it.
Right. And certain religions want you to fear it.
Sure.
And I never understood that. Because all it is a change. And we do it all the time. Because if we didn't change, time would not change. It would not change from moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. We would not end the day. We would not end the hour. We would not end the minute. We would not end a week. People love Fridays. Well, how the hell do you think we get from Monday to Friday? Death. How the hell do you think we get our paychecks? Death.
Right.
So you can think death for your fucking paycheck.
Fair enough.
Right? And that's the reason why I like graveyards. Now you're asking me, Saul. So let's get back to um people going to graveyards and fucking with them. Okay. Number
Mm-hmm.
one, I wouldn't fuck with them, okay, because some people actually or some entities actually do stay at graves. And I've seen that in my time. Um, because there is an old method, and it's mostly an Irish method. And this is for people or people like child molesters, sexual sadists, and rapists, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And um, usually it's within the family.
Right.
And you'll have family members that will stay behind after the funeral, and they wait until the body's buried and it's covered. And if it's not covered, they will cover it. And this is the reason why they drink beer, or they drink wine, or they'll drink water, because they want to make sure that they can pee. And the reason why they want to be able to pee is because they're going to piss on the grave. And when you piss on the grave, you're making sure that soul stays in there,
Hmm.
that stays down, because
So
you don't want
don't
it to
try
come
this
back,
at home.
because you don't want it to come back and haunt you.
Right.
Me, I wouldn't wait until the funeral. The moment the death occurs, I would elevate that soul quicker than hell. That's what I would do to it. Get it
Right.
out, get it, boom. That's what I would do.
Sure.
The hell with waiting. Screw that shit. No. And people was like, why would you elevate it and try to get closer to God? To get it the hell away from you. I mean, that's the whole purpose of it. Because that person is sick. And once you start healing that person, not only are you helping yourself, you're helping your family. You are repairing a process, a thread in your family, and you're helping your family members. It's just like I was talking about my family um, on the thread, or on my talk today. And basically, I was talking about fucking, just to say fuck the hell out of my family, because I am related to a bunch of narcissists. And let me tell you something. I've been told, don't burn bridges, Nikki. Don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges. Okay, number one, when people say don't burn bridges, here's here's what their experience is most of the time. They are not related to narcissists, okay, or sociopaths or psychopaths. So they have no experience with this, no experience at all. They've never had a drug addict around them, or an alcoholic, or anybody who's actually been addicted to any sort of addiction. And I'm including gambling addictions, any type of thing like that. I've been trained, and I've had personal experience. So this is my personal experience. Okay. I have a whole family of them. And my entire life, let me tell you something. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. I will burn every single bridge. I will destroy it, because there was no bridge to begin with. And every time you think that there is a bridge, it's an invisible bridge. It is like, and I know the younger people don't really understand this, so you need to go and look it up. It's like the Looney Tunes, where they walk off of a cliff and they think they're still walking on the cliff, but there's no cliff there. And then they look down and then they fall, because there was no bridge to begin with. That is what it's like.
Right.
So when people tell you not to burn bridges, you look at them and you say, honey, number one, thank you for the advice, but I don't want it because there was no bridge to begin with. So I'm not burning a bridge.
Right. Well, and I guess you could say there never was a bridge.
Right. So there's no bridge to begin with. Right.
Right.
So how can I burn a bridge if there's no bridge to begin with? Because
Right.
if they actually throw a bridge to you, it's because it's going to benefit them, not you. It's going to benefit them. And it's going to benefit them either directly or indirectly. And it's not going to do you any good. They want something from you. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got strangled by the t-shirt.
Right.
So there's my other piece of advice that's in addition to the one that I gave this morning. All right. So there we go about graveyards. So there's two books that we wanted to talk about right quick. Mine, okay, the book is called Working in the Boneyard by Denise Alvarado. And it's a very thin book. It's about $10 or $15. But usually it's about $10. It's on Amazon or it's on her page. And it talks to you about how to properly go into a graveyard, how to work in a graveyard, how to be able to get graveyard dirt, because you can't just walk in there and say, hey, let's go and get the graveyard dirt and say, fuck it. Okay? No. It talks to you how to work with the spirit. And it
Right.
talks to you about what type of work and what type of spirit to be able to work with. That's what it talks to you about. Very, very good, very short book, great book. So that's a book on graveyard magic, and I highly recommend it. And we'll have Denise a little bit later in the year. And
Excellent.
so another book that Saul's going to recommend, and I've read it, and says, Saul, what is it?
Well, I'm a big fan of Neil Gaiman. I discovered him several years ago and have been going back to earlier stuff, looking forward to the newest stuff. He just does an amazing job of creating a magical context to live in for his stories. And he doesn't necessarily do much in the way of sequels. He'll create this magical world and take you there and tell you a story, and then he goes and creates another one. And the book is called The Graveyard Book, appropriately. It's about a toddler whose family is murdered at the beginning of the book. And the toddler manages to wander down out of the house, down the street, into an old graveyard that's so old they're not burying people anymore. It's become more of a park. But the bodies are there, including the body of one of the first to be buried there, someone from Rome. So it goes back a long way. And this toddler is actually raised by the ghosts in the graveyard. And it's a beautiful story, beautifully told. It gets into some weird, dark places, but it's a hell of a ride. And for me, I mean, I love all the nonfiction books about magical ideas, but I gained so much by reading well done fiction on these topics. And Neil Gaiman is just the best. So yeah, the Graveyard Book, check it out. It'll give you a lot of respect for what may be in that graveyard.
Yeah, I actually read the book too. It's really, really good, and it's great for the kids. So, all right, that's it for our day. Oh my God, that was quick. So, embrace your power, support your community, and keep your fuzzy babies, your family, friends, and yourself safe, and have an absolute magical week. We'll see you next time.
I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if you're hurting, they're willing to talk. Nikki Curia with that Blackstone. I agree, Evermoving We Rise. Life and soul with a beautiful mind. I give you blessings under moonlight. I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock.